Before history was written in books, survival was the only law. Apocalypto 2006 takes us deep into the brutal final days of the ancient Maya civilization, where peace can vanish in a single night. When a young hunter's world is destroyed, he is forced into a deadly journey filled with fear, sacrifice, and relentless pursuit. This is not just a story of escape, it's a fight to protect family, culture, and life itself. Welcome to Starz Recapped. Let's break down Apocalypto. Deep inside the thick jungles of Central America, a band of hunters moves silently beneath the towering trees. They are tracking a wild boar, not with haste, but with patience and teamwork. Instead of attacking head-on, they carefully steer the animal toward a concealed snare. When the trap finally holds, the hunt ends quickly, and the group prepares the kill together. Their calm and steady leader, Jaguar Paw, divides the best portions of the meat among his companions. Nearby, Blunted watches closely, his eyes filled with quiet hope, wishing to receive the prized heart or the ears. Fate isn't kind to him. He's handed the least desirable piece instead. The others can't resist teasing him, joking that it will bring him luck in having a child. Taking the joke seriously, Blunted eats it without hesitation. Instant regret follows. The awful taste makes him gag, and a loud burp escapes him. The group erupts in laughter. Embarrassed and angry, Blunted jumps toward Jaguar Paw, but their scuffle remains playful and short-lived. Before things go too far, Flint Sky, Jaguar Paw's father, steps in and restores calm. Pulling Blunted aside, Flint quietly gives them a bundle of red leaves known as Solenzo. He explains that these leaves are believed to help with fertility. Blunted's spirits lift immediately, and he nearly eats them on the spot. Flint gently stops him, explaining that the leaves are meant to be rubbed, not swallowed. Understanding at last, Blunted nods with renewed hope and rejoins the group. As he walks beside Jaguar Paw once more, their laughter returns, and the moment passes like a peaceful breath in the jungle, unaware that darker days are approaching. Not long after the hunt, Jaguar Paw senses movement echoing through the forest. Footsteps disturb the silence. The men freeze, lifting their heads and listening carefully. When Jaguar Paw calls out, unfamiliar figures slowly emerge from the shadows. These strangers carry tension in their faces and fear in their eyes. One of them steps forward and offers fish as a sign of goodwill. Flint Sky responds with a piece of boar meat, honoring the unspoken code of respect. At their signal, more people appear from the trees, but these are not warriors or hunters. It is an entire community on the move. Women cling to children, the injured limp forward, and exhaustion weighs heavily on every face. Their bodies are thin, their spirits clearly shaken. Jaguar Paw quietly asks what tragedy has driven them from their land. But before the question can be answered, Flint raises his hand. The strangers only say that their home no longer exists. Flint accepts this without pressing further and later warns his men not to discuss what they witnessed. Seeing the worry in his son's eyes, Flint explains that fear spreads like a disease. He refuses to let it enter their village. At dawn, he promises to meet the elders at the sacred hill to seek wisdom from their ancestors. As calm returns, Jaguar Paw watches his young son playing happily with a small monkey nearby. His pregnant wife smiles at him, and for a moment, life feels whole and safe. Nearby, Blunted, impatient and hopeful, decides to test the red Solenzo leaves. He retreats to his hut, encouraged loudly by his mother-in-law, who is desperate for grandchildren. What happens next is anything but peaceful. Moments later, Blunted and his wife burst out of the hut screaming for water, their skin burning from the fiery leaves. The village erupts in laughter as the couple runs wildly in circles, unable to escape the intense sensation, turning embarrassment into comedy beneath the jungle sun. That night, joy fills the village once more. Flames from the campfire flicker against smiling faces as people dance, sing, and celebrate beneath the open sky, completely unaware that danger is already moving toward them. By morning, Jaguar Paw is trapped in a restless dream. He sees one of the frightened strangers from the day before, standing silently while holding a living heart in his hands. The man warns him to flee, A dog's bark echoes through the vision, growing louder until it breaks into reality. The sound pulls Jaguar Paw awake. Outside, the dog barks wildly, tense and uneasy. Then, without warning, the noise stops. A chilling silence takes its place. Sensing something terribly wrong, Jaguar Paw steps out of his hut and notices dark shapes slipping between the trees. Raiders. They are close and moving fast. He rushes back inside, waking his family and guiding them away before the village erupts into chaos. Screams tear through the air as attackers storm in, setting huts ablaze and striking without mercy. Some villagers fight back with desperate courage, but the assault is brutal and overwhelming. Flint Sky and Blunted refuse to retreat, swinging fiercely as flames rise around them. Jaguar Paw runs his family to an abandoned well hidden nearby. One by one, he lowers his pregnant wife and young son into the darkness, trusting the depths to keep them unseen. Just as he turns away, a raider notices the movement and charges. The fight is raw and violent, with nothing but strength and will. Jaguar Paw overpowers the attacker and kills him. Gasping for breath, he whispers to his family that he will return, then races back toward the burning village. He finds Flint locked in combat with a skilled enemy and throws himself into the fight, saving his father. But before they can escape, the raider leader steps in. Jaguar Paw is seized. Blunted is caught in a net. The remaining men are surrounded. One savage warrior, his eyes cold and hungry for blood, moves to kill Jaguar Paw immediately. The leader stops him, choosing captivity over death. In that tense moment, Jaguar Paw calls out to his father. The cruel warrior hears the word, smiles, and kills Flint Sky right in front of his son. Another feared man, known for his merciless nature, strikes Jaguar Paw with practiced cruelty, knocking him unconscious. When Jaguar Paw awakens, he is bound to bamboo poles alongside the surviving men. Nearby, Blunted screams in helpless rage as his wife is dragged away, fighting with every ounce of strength she has left. Jaguar Paw scans the devastation, desperate for any sign of his own family. The well remains untouched. Relief washes over him. They are still hidden. The village that once echoed with laughter is now nothing more than ash, smoke, and lifeless bodies. As the raiders prepare to leave, one of them notices the rope leading down the well. He drops a heavy stone into the darkness and cuts the rope. The falling rock injures Jaguar Paw's young son, but they survive, trapped in silence. For Jaguar Paw, that single truth keeps hope alive. The raiders march on with cold purpose, collecting prisoners from scattered villages deep within the jungle. They serve a powerful Maya ruler, and this hunt is far from over. Zero Wolf, the ruthless leader of the raiding party, makes his rule clear. Anyone who can be taken alive must remain breathing. As the captives are gathered, Jaguar Paw recognizes the broken villagers he encountered days earlier. They, too, have been taken. Bound together with ropes, the prisoners are forced into a long, silent march through the dense jungle. Adults are tied in a single line, stumbling forward step by step, while their children trail behind, crying out in fear and confusion. No one dares to speak. When they reach the riverbank, the oldest girl among the children steps forward with unexpected courage. She promises the younger ones that she will protect them and keep them together. The parents, helpless and restrained, whisper final prayers, asking their gods to guard their children in a moment when they no longer can. Far from the marching captives, deep inside the abandoned well, Jaguar Paw's wife focuses on keeping their son alive. With nothing else available, she turns to an ancient survival method, biting ants. She presses the insects to the wound, allowing them to clamp down and hold the torn flesh together like living stitches. In silence and darkness, she waits, holding on to hope as the world above moves farther away. The captives are forced along a narrow trail carved into the cliffside, where a single mistake could mean death. Every step is a gamble. Behind Jaguar Paw, a badly injured prisoner stumbles and loses his balance. His fall tugs violently at the rope, dragging the entire chain of captives toward the edge. Middle Eye watches in silence, making no effort to help, as if waiting to see who will survive. Jaguar Paw digs his feet into the rock and scrapes his hands against the stone, pulling with everything he has. With Blunted grabbing hold of a thick root to steady them, Jaguar Paw manages to stop the slide and haul the others back to solid ground. They are saved, but only for a moment. As soon as they reach safety, Middle Eye cuts the rope without warning. The wounded man is sent tumbling into the depths below. Zero Wolf confronts him at once. Middle Eye argues that the injured captive was slowing the march, but the leader sees through the excuse and rebukes him sharply, making it clear that defying orders will bring consequences. Middle Eye backs down, unwilling to challenge Zero Wolf's authority. That night, the raiders make camp. Zero Wolf honors his own son, promoting him from apprentice to full warrior. Nearby, Blunted mutters that if death is waiting for him, he will make sure to take at least one enemy along. Jaguar Paw says nothing. Instead, he turns inward and prays, not for escape, but for clear skies. Because rain would mean rising water in the well where his family is hidden, and that thought terrifies him more than any blade. By morning, the captives pass through a ruined settlement scarred by illness and decay. Smoke-stained huts stand empty, and the air carries the weight of death. Near the path, a young girl kneels beside her lifeless mother, her skin marked by spreading sores. The warriors recoil, shoving her away with a pole to avoid contact. But as the girl reaches out, something changes. Her voice sharpens, no longer sounding like her own. Her gaze fixes on Jaguar Paw, and she speaks with chilling certainty. She warns the raiders of a coming darkness, a day when the sun itself will vanish. She speaks of a man bound to the spirit of the jaguar, a man who will rise again from earth and mud, reborn. Her words ripple through the group, leaving an uneasy silence behind. Not long after, the captives arrive at the edge of a massive Maya city ruled by a powerful king. The first sight that greets them is a field of broken slaves crushing quicklime into pale powder, the dust drifting through the air like mist. Beyond them lie dead crops and an empty riverbed, clear signs of a land slowly dying. For Jaguar Paw and the others raised deep in the jungle, this world feels overwhelming and unnatural. As they are led deeper inside, they witness layers of society unlike anything they've known. Laborers strain under heavy loads. Traders argue loudly in crowded markets. Beggars stretch out trembling hands, and richly dressed nobles pass by adorned in jade, paint, and elaborate garments that gleam in the sunlight. Inside the inner streets, the captives are separated. The women are taken away, inspected, and sold like objects. Blunted's mother-in-law is spared only because her age makes her unwanted. The men face a darker fate. Their bodies are painted blue, and they are marched toward a towering pyramid where sacrifices are offered to the god Kukulkan. The people believe blood is the only way to heal their dying world. As the men climb the long stone causeway, they watch severed heads roll down the steps ahead of them. Terror settles deep in their chests. At the summit, a priest executes one captive before a silent, watching crowd. Jaguar Paw's friend is dragged forward next. His life ended in moments. When Jaguar Paw's turn comes, he is forced onto the stone altar, staring into the sky just as the sun begins to fade. A solar eclipse slowly darkens the heavens, turning day into shadow. Confusion spreads among the executioners. The king signals for the ritual to continue, but the high priest steps forward instead. He declares that the god is satisfied and that the sun will return if the offering is accepted. As light slowly breaks through and the eclipse fades, the crowd erupts in celebration, convinced their sacrifice has worked. The remaining captives are spared, but mercy does not follow. Instead, Zero Wolf orders the men taken to the hunting grounds. The rules are cruel and simple. The prisoners will be released and forced to run. The warriors will fire arrows from behind. Anyone who survives will be finished by the leader's son waiting at the far end. 2 men are released first, Blunted among them. They barely take a few steps before arrows tear them down. Then Jaguar Paw and another captive are sent running. They sprint across the open field, twisting and dodging in desperation. But one by one, the arrows find their marks. Both men are struck and fall to the ground, and the hunt continues. As Zero Wolf's son steps forward to deliver the final blow, Blunted summons the last of his strength and grabs the young warrior's ankle. The brief delay is enough. Jaguar Paw snaps the arrow lodged in his side and drives the shattered shaft into his enemy, killing him instantly. Shock ripples through the hunters. A prisoner has slain the leader's son. Without hesitation, the warriors surge forward. Wounded but determined, Jaguar Paw stumbles into the open wilderness, driven by a single instinct, survival. even with an arrow still embedded in his body. He runs with the speed and fury his name promises. Out here, everything is changed. He is no longer the hunter. He is the prey. Jaguar Paw races past fallen bodies and disappears into the dense forest, climbing high into a tree to catch his breath. Zero Wolf and his men pass beneath him, unaware of how close they are. But fate betrays him. A single drop of blood falls onto a warrior's shoulder below. Before they can look up, another danger reveals itself. The tree Jaguar Paw climbed belongs to a mother jaguar. She emerges with a low, threatening growl, muscles coiled and ready to strike. As the hunters notice the blood and begin spreading out to search, Jaguar Paw has no choice but to flee again. The jaguar charges after him, forcing him straight toward the pursuing warriors. One of the men steps into Jaguar Paw's path, unaware of the predator closing in behind him. In an instant, the jaguar brings him down with crushing jaws. The others rush forward, killing the animal, but their own warrior lies dead. Uneasy whispers spread through the group. One man recalls the dying girl's warning. The day turned to darkness, and now a jaguar has appeared. Fear creeps into their voices. Zero Wolf silences them sharply. He insists the captive did not summon the beast. He was simply running from it. There will be no hesitation, no superstition. He orders the hunt to continue, and the chase moves deeper into the jungle. Through the darkness, Jaguar Paw presses strips of tree bark against his wound, slowing the bleeding as he pushes onward through the night. By dawn, panic spreads again when one of the hunters is bitten by a snake. Fear ripples through the group, but Zero Wolf shows no mercy and forces them to continue the chase. They finally corner Jaguar Paw and unleash every weapon they have. Arrows fly, but he slips between them and bursts out onto the edge of a towering waterfall. Out in the open, he knows he won't survive long. With no other choice, he leaps. He crashes into the water below. The impact brutal, but he lives. Looking up, he shouts back to his pursuers, warning them that this land is his home. He dares them to follow if they believe themselves worthy hunters. One man suggests finding another way around the falls. Zero Wolf silences him permanently, killing him for questioning command. One by one, the warriors jump after Jaguar Paw. One strikes the rocks below and dies instantly. As the others struggle in the water, Jaguar Paw sinks into thick mud near the edge. For a terrifying moment, he is trapped. Then Slovna reborn from the earth itself, he pulls free, just as the prophecy foretold. He uses the forest to his advantage, wrapping leaves around a nest of furious bees and hurling it toward his enemies. The swarm erupts, buying him precious seconds to disappear deeper into the jungle he knows better than anyone. Back at the well, his wife throws the rope upward, trying to climb out. Her strength fails. She slips and falls back, clutching her stomach as the pain of labor tightens around her. In the jungle, Jaguar Paw captures a poison dart frog and coats the tips of his small darts with its venom. He smears mud along the ground, shaping a false trail that twists around the trees. When he is finished, he melts into the shadows and waits. The hunters arrive moments later and rush past him, following the fake path. Jaguar Paw steps out silently and fires a poisoned dart into the last man in line, dropping him without a sound. But Middle Eye senses something wrong. He turns back, ready for a final confrontation. The two men clash, fueled by rage. Middle Eye strikes first, slicing Jaguar Paw's forehead and drawing blood. But the wound does not slow him. Jaguar Paw seizes a fallen weapon, strikes back and kills him, finally avenging his father. Rain begins to fall, light at first, then heavier. Water slowly rises in the well where his family is trapped. Jaguar Paw races back toward them, promising he will return, then vanishes again into the forest. Two remaining hunters reach the well and see his family struggling below, but they ignore them and continue the pursuit. Jaguar Paw runs through the trees until an arrow from Zero Wolf strikes him. He snaps the shaft, pushes through the pain, and keeps moving. Zero Wolf charges after him with a stone blade raised, but steps straight into the hidden boar trap. The hunt ends there. Every step Jaguar Paw takes burns with pain, but he does not stop. His family is waiting, and that is reason enough to keep going. The last two hunters pursue Jaguar Paw until the land opens into the vast edge of the sea. All three come to a sudden halt as shapes emerge from the morning fog. Massive ships glide toward the shore, foreign vessels unlike anything they have ever seen. The hunters stand frozen, staring at the strangers with confusion and fear. In that moment of uncertainty, Jaguar Paw slips away, vanishing back into the jungle without a sound. Back at the well, his wife struggles to stay upright as the water continues to rise. In the darkness, she gives birth to a baby boy, her strength nearly gone. Just as exhaustion threatens to claim her, Jaguar Paw returns. He frees his family and pulls them safely into his arms. As the rain begins to fade, he holds his wife and children close. She looks toward the distant shore and softly asks if they should follow the newcomers. Jaguar Paw shakes his head. That world is not meant for them. Their future lies in the forest, the land that raised them, protected them, and carries their spirit forward. Together, they turn away from the shore and disappear into the trees. Apocalypto reminds us that survival isn't just about strength. It's about courage, instinct, and the will to protect those we love. As old worlds collapse and new ones rise, Jaguar Paw chooses freedom over fear, returning to the land that defines him. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories, only on Starz Recapped.